Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Zenitsu, and we are here with an anime video. So, if anyone's unfamiliar with my content, I mostly make Digimon related content, more specifically Digimon trading card game related content, but I do have more hobbies and interests than just that, and I wanted to try to share them with you because I do watch a lot of anime and I do keep up with the anime seasonal schedule, and the fall anime season for 2025 is looking to be a really fun season to actually watch and enjoy. Not only just from the reoccurring shows getting sequels and continuations, but some of the new shows that are going to be coming out as well. So I do apologize in advance with the whole presentation of this. I'm new to the whole YouTube anime thing, but I might do like 2 YouTube anime videos to kind of start things off with, where I'll do one at the beginning of the season talking about all of the shows I'm excited to watch and looking forward to watching, and then maybe a second one at the end of the season kind of recapping and reviewing them all and seeing how they actually turned out, if they were good or not. Because, you can't necessarily judge a book by its cover, but that's kind of what we're doing here, is judging books by their cover. So I know that the majority of anime is split between like 5 major streaming platforms, between Crunchyroll, Netflix, Hulu, HIDIVE, and Amazon Prime. I guess technically Disney Plus is in there. It's just technically paired with Hulu, but regardless, you could find all of what you want to watch between those 5 streaming platforms. I know that's a lot of different streaming platforms, so you might be able to pick and choose based on your own personal research as far as what you want and what streaming platforms you already have. So, without further ado, if you enjoy this type of content, you already know what to do, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and tell me down in the comments below what anime you're looking forward to watching this season. Let's start things off with the sequels and continuations, because ideally these should require less explanation, being already established shows. These are in no particular order, mind you. I'm going to be watching Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill Season 2. So it's just a cute cooking-based isekai anime about a character traveling a world with a couple of funny animals. Next, I'm going to be watching Ranma 1/2 Season 2. So this is the MAPPA remake. I've never seen the original Ranma 1/2 nor read the manga, so this is just a nice, cute little action, comedy, romance show. Next, I'm going to be watching My Hero Academia's final season. I think it's season 8 in terms of number-wise, but regardless, I'm excited to see how My Hero Academia is actually going to end. Speaking of more action superhero-ness, we have One Punch Man Season 3, so JC Staff is going to continue their works on it, so expect the same level of quality as Season 2. But Season 2 really wasn't that off-putting. Yes, it was a little bit sad to see the degrade in quality from the studio change, but it's One Punch Man. I'm sure the satire of the superhero genre through Saitama is just going to be fun to watch no matter what. Just like how Spy Family Season 3 is going to be fun to watch, and it's going to be a season that should be focused more on Anya, because we had a lot of Yor and Lloyd action in the last season, but it's just a fun little comedy to watch nonetheless. And speaking of comedies, I'm going to be continuing to watch Isekai Quartet, even though it's more than a quartet at this point. There's like 6 different isekais represented in this show, but I'm watching it because it's about a lot of isekais I have already watched, and it's just funny to see all of these characters interact with each other in a high school setting. Next, we have To Your Eternity Season 3. Season 2 kind of ended the major conflict that the protagonist Fushi was facing off against, so he dreamed for a world of peace, and, well, fast forward to the future, he gets his wish and now is going to explore said world of peace. Next, we have Record of Ragnarok, which is going to be in Netflix jail, but Season 3 is just going to be more of what Season 1 and 2 was, where it's just in this tournament arc of humans versus gods to try to fight for, the humans' right to exist. As far as continuations go, we have Tougen Anki getting its second core, so this is just not that great of a show. It's just mindless fun if you just want another action shonen slop to watch. I am going to be continuing watching One Piece, so One Piece is just One Piece. I'm caught up with the anime, and I'm excited to see Egghead arc is coming to its close. Next, we have Gachi Akuta getting more episodes, so this is actually a good action shonen, unlike Tougen Anki, so I am more invested in the characters and story, basically centered around Trash and the main character wanting to get back to the upper world in which he fell from to try to get his revenge, as basically there takes a lot of steps to be able to transition between the worlds that he was descended from. And lastly, we have Uma Musume Cinderella Grey as far as the continuations. I really need to finish the first part, just kind of like how I dropped Yaiba, but I want to continue with that as well. And, well, once I am caught up, I'm going to be watching part 2, because no, I'm not playing the mobile game, but I did like the spin-off that Cinderella Grey was presenting. Alright, now we can finally get to some of the new shows that are going to be airing this season, because there's a good amount of interesting shows that I feel like are worth watching, and I'm going to try to watch. So the big reason for this video even existing is because Digimon is getting a new anime, and that's going to be Digimon Beat Break. I don't know if this is going to be more in line with the traditional Digimon shows, or if this is going to be one of their experimentation shows that they kind of flip-flop between with the different seasons. But either way, it's more Digimon, and it has me excited, so I'm going to be watching it no matter what. Next, we have Sanda. So this is coming from the creative mind of Paru Itagaki, who had also written Beastars, which is one of my favorite animes of all time. So seeing a new work of theirs is really good. This time it's going to be just as wacky and zany, centered around the protagonist who could transform into Santa Claus. And he's going to use his Santa Claus-based powers to probably fight off other fairy tale type beings, on top of trying to help find the missing student in their class as the story unfolds around them. And if you haven't picked up a pattern, I generally tend to watch mostly action shows, whether it's going to be shonen or isekai. It doesn't necessarily matter to me. I just like watching big explosions and punchies, and I sometimes need a break from that, so that's why I'm going to be watching With You Our Love Will Make It Through, which is just going to be a cute little love story between a high school girl and a high school beast folk. But going back to things that I tend to watch, we have A Wild Boss Appears. So the Wild Last Boss is about, the classic isekai trope of a character getting isekai'd into the body of their game character, and they get revived 200 years into the future after their defeat towards some other players, and now this character is going to have to explore the worlds that they once knew in a different light, restarting from scratch, not necessarily from scratch with their powers, but they're going to be overpowered compared to everyone else, and it's just going to be a fun romp at watching how this character is going to discover the world around them. And continuing on with some isekai slop, I'm going to be watching My Status as an Assassin Obviously Exceeds the Heroes. So instead of a single character getting isekai'd, this time it is the class getting isekai'd, and the king that summons them gives them some abilities, or they just come natively with their abilities, don't quite know yet. But one of the abilities that one of the classmates get is that of the hero, and another one, which is going to be who our protagonist is going to be that of the assassin, and he kind of uncovers an evil scheme around the king that summoned him, so he's therefore banished and must now find the power to make things right and get his revenge. Next, we have Genosha. So this is going to be an anime. The best way I could explain it is if Among Us was actually an anime. So if you like basically time loops and murder mysteries, this is the show for you. Even though I never watched Kamen Rider, Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider is a show that kinda interests me because it just looks like another fun action show with some pretty decent comedy. Even though I won't understand some of the reference humor that's going to be going on, it still looks like it's going to be an interesting show where the protagonist wants to be a superhero, ends up stopping a crime, and then gets involved in some bigger plot that he gets swept up into because he stops that initial crime. And as far as just more action shows, we have Ninja vs. Gokudo. So just basically ninjas versus the Yakuza. And yeah, that's kind of just what the show is about. It's just two warring factions with an unlikely friendship between each character from the faction, trying to stop the greater war around them. And that's it for the majority of the shows that I'm going to be watching, but there's still a lot of shows I'm going to be following to see if they're actually worth me watching or not, or maybe if I'm bored and I have a little bit of free time, I'll watch an episode or two and kind of see if it's going to be good enough for me to want to continue with. So to start this part of the list off and kind of just close the video out, we have My Gift level 9999, Unlimited Gotcha, Backstabbed in a Backwater Dungeon, I'm Out for Revenge. I know that's quite a title. I'm just going to be foreshortening it to Backstabbed in a Backwater Dungeon. The rest of the title really doesn't matter, but essentially it's a overpowered protagonist whose skill was undervalued, and he now just wants revenge as his old party tried to kill him, and now he actually has the power to be able to fight back. So, just nothing super special there, just a fun little romp on revenge. Next, we have a Gatherer's Adventurer. So, yeah, this is just another isekai show. It looks like it's going to be more laid back, as the focus is going to be on gathering in said adventure rather than anything action-based. So the main protagonist gets isekai'd with a whole bunch of cheat skills, and he travels the fantasy land and gathers a whole bunch of stuff on his way. Next, we have kind of another love story, and it's going to be The Barbarian's Bride. So this is basically about another set of warring factions, except this time, instead of two unlikely friends trying to stop the war, we have basically the protagonist, who's a knight coming from the west, gets kidnapped and is supposed to be married by the barbarian king of the east, and the barbarian king is trying to woo her, and she gets obviously a little bit emotional. So yeah, it's just going to be a really cute and fun story to see how that unfolds. Next, we have Disney Twisted Wonderland, the animation. So I know this already has like 3 seasons already confirmed, and I'm not necessarily the biggest Disney fan, but I'm curious to see what the people who made Black Butler is able to do with this type of setting, because it is just a character gets summoned to another world, so another kind of isekai, except the world he gets summoned to is a magical school, and each of the different headmasters to each of the different dorms is based on a classic Disney villain. And back to some more isekai-esque slop, we have Otherworldly Munchkin. Let's speedrun the dungeon with only 1 HP. So this is technically not really isekai, it's isekai adjacent, being a reincarnation story. So the main character basically dies protecting his sister, and the entity that's reincarnating him gives him basically a skill list, and as he's flipping through the skill list and character sheets, he sees that his sister is there, so he now wants to find his sister as quickly as possible. And the last show on this list is going to be Star Wars Vision Volume 3. So I'm not as big of a Star Wars fan as I used to be in the past, but Star Wars still has some pretty interesting settings and concepts that can be played with, and I'm curious to see this time around what these animation studios are going to do with the Star Wars IP and how they're going to actually end up being animated and who's actually animating them. So that's essentially everything I'm planning on watching this anime season. I know there's a lot of anime out there, especially in genres that I don't particularly enjoy, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be something for everyone to watch this anime season. So thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully you found this video to be helpful and informative in terms of things that you might be interested in watching, but this is just everything I'm going to be watching. So with that, I hope to see everyone in the next video. Later!